Hello and welcome to today's video, and if you're new to my channel, again welcome. I'm Jeanette with Vivo Vintage Designs. On this channel we post 1 to 2 videos a week on either alcohol ink, watercolor, or other art creative projects. So in today's video, I selected a picture that I found on Google and then I tweaked it to kind of make it my own, and I will be using my second new palette of the Kutetake Gansai Tambi paints. And I wanted to explain in more detail the differences between traditional watercolor paints and these Japanese paints, because there are significant differences, and before you consider purchasing them, I thought it would be important for you to know what the differences are, because although I read and watched videos, I really didn't understand until I bought the paints and used them for myself. And I really enjoy using them, but I think it's important that you should know what the differences are. So this is what I learned from the internet. The first difference between watercolor and Gansai is the binder used in each. Most Western or traditional watercolor that most of us are used to are made up of pigment and gum arabic, which is used as a binder and dissolves very easily in water. When you paint with traditional watercolors, this binder gets absorbed completely into the paper. Now, Gansai is made of pigment and uses a combination of animal hide, glue, starch, gum arabic, beeswax, sugar syrup, and or glycerin as their binder. So already you see the differences. Now, the next difference is the texture and the opacity, which is very different also. Traditional watercolor is thin and transparent, with the exception of some of the cadmium colors, which can be a bit more opaque, and watercolor dries to a nice matte finish that we're used to. Gansai is more opaque, but it can be diluted with water to make it more transparent and to look more like watercolor. But it's thicker and tacky because of the binder that's used, and when it dries it can be a little bit glossy. So in this, let's talk about this painting for a moment. I sketched out a simple painting. You can see I'm looking at the painting on my cell phone as the one that I found on Google, as I do my version of it. And you can see that the colors don't blend together very well, and we'll get into that in just a little bit. But you can drop in colors, and this is just it was described as folk art, and I love this style of painting. It's something that I do for myself very often. It's very simple, but I just love the look of it. So, all right, let's get back to the paints. Where did I leave off? Okay, mixing. Now, with traditional watercolor, you can mix colors, a bunch of different colors, to create the color that you need for your painting. With Gansai, they recommend mixing no more than 2 to 3 colors. And I hadn't really tried that so much until this painting, where I mixed about 2 colors. And I didn't have any problems with it, but I haven't tried to mix more colors than that. So I didn't find any problems with that. I suppose if I were to try and mix 3 or 4 colors together, then I might have an issue. The next difference would be lifting. With traditional watercolors, there are different levels of staining, so some colors are easier to lift than others. Gansai paints lifts very easily, which is really nice. If you make a mistake and you want to correct it, you can easily lift it. But it's not so nice when you want to add multiple layers like you do with traditional watercolor. When you try to add layers with Gansai, the layers beneath are disturbed and you get a lot of lifting. It's not designed for layering. You can do some layering, but It's not an easy thing to do, I've found so far. And I don't have a lot of experience with these paints. I have done a couple of paintings, but I definitely see what they mean. And the next thing would be the vibrancy of color. Traditional watercolor, in most cases, but not all, has more binder and less pigment. To achieve the level of desired vibrancy, you have to add multiple layers. Gansai has more pigment and less binder, which allows these paints to be a lot more vibrant. And again, you can dilute these colors with water very easily, and they won't be as vibrant. They'll be a softer version of the color. And now, blending in wet and wet is the next difference. Traditional watercolors can be blended beautifully on paper using wet on dry or wet in wet. With Gansai, they're not designed to be used with the wet and wet technique, although I did use that technique when I created the sky, but you can see that it doesn't blend the way normal traditional paints, watercolor paints, would blend when you do the wet and wet technique. Here I have what almost looks like cauliflowers, and I did do a little bit of lifting to get some cloud-like effects in there. It just does not work the same, but I do enjoy the way, the unique way that the Gansai paints work. I really, really enjoy it. It's something you have to get used to, but it's a lot of fun to play with. So the Gansai was not designed for wet and wet. So when you try this technique, you'll find that it doesn't work the same. The colors do not blend together very well. Now let's get back to this painting. This is so cute. I really enjoyed this painting, and I intend on doing more like it. Let me know your thoughts if you like this style of painting, so I'll be sure to share them with you. But you can see it's very simple, and that's what I like about it. I don't think that this is intimidating. I think anybody can do a painting like this. Find an image on Unsplash or on Google, and you can trace it. I drew this freehand, but you can trace it onto your watercolor paper and have a go at it. There's really nothing that you can do wrong in this style of painting. It's very relaxing and it's a lot of fun. And I just love this style so much. So let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. So now let me give you my final thoughts. I would not recommend these paints to someone who is just starting out with watercolor. I would recommend a set of traditional watercolor paints for the beginner. This is definitely, it doesn't work the same as watercolor. There are a lot of differences, but I would recommend this set of paints for someone who has more experience and for someone who enjoys trying different mediums and different paints. The difference between the traditional watercolors and Gansai is what makes them so special and fun for me to use. So I've bought 2 sets, and they do come with metallics, but I haven't bought the metallics. I don't work with metallics very often, but as I said, I really am enjoying these paints. They won't replace my traditional watercolors because they're definitely my favorites, but these are a very close second to them. Well, we are getting close to the end of this video, and I hope you found this information helpful. As usual, if you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section. I will always get back to you as soon as I can. And if you enjoyed this video and would like to see more like it, please consider subscribing and give this video a like, a thumbs up. If you would like to share your version of the paintings and techniques learned on this channel, consider joining our Facebook group, Vivo Vintage Design Tutorials. We have a lovely group of members who are incredibly supportive and talented and so very helpful. So I hope that you consider joining and that I see you there. So let's get back to this painting real quick before the video ends. Once I got all the watercolor down, I am using my Posca pens, and I also use some colored pencils, and I added a little bit more detail I'm just dotting in a few flowers here to brighten it up a little bit more. Nothing crazy. I'm just using a dot for these little flowers. And you can see that in the within those circles that I created, I did take a watercolor pencil or a colored pencil. I'm not sure which one I used. Either works. And I embellished it by adding a few petals, keeping it very simple. I think it's busy enough. And I just added a little bit of embellishments to indicate that those are supposed to be flowers. And I would say this whole painting took me maybe about an hour, but I enjoyed it so very much. And you can see again, I have different color Posca pens, and I'm just adding a dot here or a dot there, and making those circles look more like flowers. All right, everyone, thank you so much for watching. Check the description box for links to the products used. Again, let me know if you have any questions in the comment sections, and please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you so very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.